Hello.
What's going on, everybody? How the hell? Oh, got the big green freaking. Why do you have a big green bottle you're drinking water from?
Yes.
Hydrate or die, motherfucker.
That's right.
That's right. Sorry, I know
Hydrate.
we're not even a minute and we're not even 2 minutes into this. We're already dropping f bombs. Sorry, folks. Um, yeah. Hope everybody's having a great Friday, April 10th, 2026. Hope everybody's doing good. Had a good week. Um, Mine was okay. I think his was okay. Just staying
Okay.
busy with our other stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Essentially.
so freaking So okay, yeah, let's get on with the show. I don't know why I just went into that freaking Macho Man. See what you do? It's
Oh,
it's
yeah.
that power of suggestion, dude. We're doing
You
this
know what
crap.
it is, brother? I tell you what it is. It's that you're listening to the most awesome and most magnificent person to ever grace the stage and the ring of WrestleMania. Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna say this once, as your friend, as your brother. Um, the fact that you're not getting paid for doing voice work is the biggest travesty of our time. There, I said it. Hashtag Alamo voice work. All right, so that's not really a real hashtag. We literally just made that up right there on the spot. So yeah. So anyway, like I
Rather
said,
quickly and rather frankly, amazingly tremendous.
see, that's what I'm saying, dude. Like you can just do all of this stuff. Like why not? Why not? Come on, man.
Indeed.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many good characters you can just do and spoof and parody. Come on, do it. Damn it. Get on to it.
You're just a girly man.
I'll take that.
Damn
Whatever.
it. You you're just this big old girly man.
Such a jackass
Damn
you
it.
are. Anyway, folks, like I said, hope you had a good week. We are, if you're new to the show, thanks for joining us. We are just two guys that have been friends for a long time. We had each spent some time in the military post 9/11, part of the GWAT generation. Um, similar, but also some different experiences between the two of us. We'll explain that a little bit later at the end of the show. We get on here and we talk about stuff related to the veteran and military cultures predominantly, but we also kind of throw in the law enforcement, firefighter, first responder communities as well, because there's a lot of similarities and parallels between all those communities as well. So we don't want to,
Yes.
leave them out in the cold, so to speak. So, it's all gravy, baby. So, we're here to talk about whatever tickles the fancy. So, before we get into the show for this week, we are going to just go over a little bit of news. We don't have anything in the notes, but Alamo just informed me that the Artemis 2 mission has returned back to Earth
Yes,
successfully
sir.
after their almost week-long mission around the moon and back again. Um, Pretty amazing stuff. I think they set a record for the farthest distance travel by a
Yes.
space mission, which is pretty wild and crazy. They actually got some footage of the dark side of the moon, which the moon doesn't really rotate from our perspective because it rotates at the same
Tidally locked, as the physicists like to say.
tidal lock. Yes, that's exactly what I was looking for. Thanks, my dude. So it has tidal lock. So we're always pretty much looking at the same side of it. So I got some really good footage and photos of the dark side of the moon. No, that's not a Pink Floyd reference to all the hippies out there, but not knocking on the hippies, just not saying that kind of dark side of the moon. But yeah, they apparently returned to Earth safely. Apparently, there was a sonic boom, but I'm on the other side of the state. I didn't hear nothing. So, did you hear the
Yeah.
boom? Did you hear the boom de boom?
Honestly, if it rang out, I mean, I'm gonna be honest. There was a certain point of the day where I was playing a game, so a lot of the boomity booms that I was experiencing were coming from a game. So
Speaking of games, um, ugh. Yeah, that Voodoo Grape is Gives you the belchies right off the bat. So,
Mhm.
if you caught our show last week, Alamo and I actually were able to broadcast from the same location. I was actually over at his house for about a day and a half ish. Um, we hung out last week, got to do our show last week from his studio, and then we got to hang out part of the Saturday. We got to go see, what did we see? Oh, yeah, we saw the Super Mario sequel, Super Mario Galaxy, which is awesome. I got to watch the first one at his place Friday night before we did the show. So I was like, okay, that's great. Now I know what the hell I'm getting into. Fun movie, fantastic. Go see it with the kids. It's awesome, especially if they love Mario Brothers. The funniest thing about the movie is where I outed myself, because before the movie, they're showing like the trailer and stuff for Nintendo, and it has a big 3-9 up there because it's 39th anniversary. And then it rolled over to 40, saying happy anniversary, happy 40th anniversary. I'm like, I didn't mean to say it out loud, but I'm like, fuck, I'm older than Nintendo. And then your wife just comes over and goes, damn. It just, oh man.
There was so many Easter eggs and callbacks
There
and
was.
references in that movie.
And I'm sure
Like,
you caught them all, because
ridiculous.
I'm not the video game guy that I once was, especially not with Mario Brothers. Like I had the Super Mario Brothers when I was on Super NES and stuff. So yeah, I had that one, but that's about it. I didn't play Mario Kart, any of that other stuff, so I'm gonna leave that in your wheelhouse. But
Yes,
fun movie. But what's really cool is unrelated to all that, you and I got to hang out on your couch and we played Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater Delta, which is the revamped version of MGS3 Snake Eater. Fucking tech. And that's kind of what's inspiring my look today, kind of going Vietnam era old school kind of shit. So
hands down, best intro song of any freaking video game.
oh yeah, it's very Bond-esque, Bond theme-esque. Absolutely. Oh,
Snake Eater.
You were so loud in my headphones just now. You could have warned me. I damn near just shit myself, dude. Like, good lord. I was like, whoa, these speakers work a little too well right now. Jesus. But I think all around, I think that game is just a friggin' masterpiece. Like, it really is. It's that era was awesome. Are they going to redo the first one where Snake's at Shadow Moses Island? Are they talking about doing that one?
God, I hope so.
I mean, that one would be phenomenal.
I hear some rumors that they are thinking about doing that, but we shall see.
Because Hideo Kojima is no longer with Kojima Studios.
Well, he has Kojima Studios, but
he's no longer affiliated.
He's no longer affiliated with Konami.
Konami, that's it. Okay.
Yes.
Which is a travesty, but I get it. You want to have control over what your vision is.
It's Konami's fault.
Probably.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, so because of all that, like I just love that game. You pick your costume, you pick your camo pattern to blend in with the surroundings and everything else, and it was such like I fell in love with Metal Gear Solid, and then Snake Eater just upped it to like obsession level type shit, and it's so good. I've heard about this for the past couple years, and to be able to sit down and watch it, especially on this guy's big ass TV with the big ass speakers, and it's like Jesus, like it's awesome.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna tell you right now, in May when you guys are out of town, that's what I'm doing while I'm at your house. I'm playing that whole game all the way through. You're going to see me sitting on the couch for 4 days straight. Like, I can't move. My legs gave out on me 3 days ago. That's what I'm doing.
You know what's crazy about freaking, like when he left freaking Konami and he started his own game company, right? And a big part of the reason why he left was because of creative differences. Like the company kept trying to interrupt what he was doing with the new Silent Hill that he was creating.
Right.
The new Silent Hill that he was creating at the time was going to star, get this, Norman Reedus in the lead role.
Really?
He took Norman Reedus from that whatever the
Project.
hell from that project was,
And that's when he put him in Death
and he
Stranding.
and he put him in Death Stranding, and he pitched Death Stranding to Norman. Like I don't remember exactly when, but he was like, "Look, I want to do a project with you. We're gonna do this later on down the road." Blah 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 blah. And he gave that freaking story to Norman. Norman was like, "I'm in. Let's do it." I've been playing that, and I've been playing Snake Eater. I was playing that today. I was playing Death Stranding, and it like, okay, newsflash, guys, it's like a 4-year-old game. 5? I don't remember. It's a couple years old.
You talking about Death Stranding?
Death Stranding, yeah. It's a couple years old. So, newsflash to everybody, yes, I'm behind the power curve, if anybody is even giving a shit about it. Yeah. So, but still, fantastic game so far. Like, it's creepy. It's like Kojima, so.
That game came out in 2019, so it's like 7 years.
7 years old. Holy crap!
But you know what? I do the same thing, man. Like, I don't follow like new shows. I let the buzz and stuff die down, so like not everyone's talking about it. Like,
watch it when it's already there.
So, yeah, it's already run through, so that way
everything.
I can just you can just binge a shit out of it. Like, boom, here we go, let's go. Yeah, but yeah,
dude,
so
I got Death Stranding on my Xbox when it came out for like $20, and I was like, yeah, sounds about right.
That's about right.
It fits.
But yeah, the fact of the matter is that they did Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. We're going somewhere with this. I am going to be addicted to that shit at the end of May. I know I'm going to have an unhealthy attachment to that. And they say that admitting there's a problem is the first step. Well, I'm pre-admitting that there's going to be a problem. I'm going to be sitting there just like, just doing all that crazy shit. What are you doing?
I think I accidentally hit the light.
I think you did, because you're looking kind of blurry and you glared out and stuff, my dude. There we go. There we go. Anyway, so we went off a little bit into the weeds there, folks. Sorry, that's just two guys with, hamster brain, kind of getting derailed, going off the rails there. So yeah. Anyway, so for this week, and if you caught our show last week, if you didn't catch our show, you are more than welcome, and we would encourage you, really, really encourage you to go back and watch it. You can find any of our material on any of our content on our YouTube page. If you just search Battle Bros Podcast, it'll have all of our episodes from the very beginning, the cringe-ass episode 1, all the way to now. We're actually streaming this live onto YouTube as we speak. But you can go back and watch any of our old shows, any of our old conversations on YouTube. You can also find them in other places. I will warn you, we're not quite up to speed yet on some of the stuff, and that
working on it.
It takes a little bit of time. Yeah. We got to upload the stuff, and we got
to upload it manually too. So
yes, and with working, each of us having a weekend job, plus we got parental responsibilities and stuff, like week job, parent stuff, and then this, like, it's a lot to juggle. It's like you see those people juggling, and they've got like 47 plates in the air. Like, I'm gonna break some shit. Like, I'm gonna have 2, and they're just gonna go. I'm just gonna look like I went to Acropolis and they all broke the damn plates and shit on the floor.
On a high note, though, I think it's around episode 4 or 5. You get to see me make a fool of myself by saying "Battles Bros." Yeah.
Did you really?
I did. You even called it out. You were like, "Good job calling us Battles Bros." Battles Bros, really?
I have to go back and watch that now. Oh, number 5. Number 5 was jargon, and that one was kind of cringe too, because we were trying to do funny.
We were trying to do,
but we were trying to force the funny, and it wasn't funny.
Yeah, it wasn't funny. Yeah.
If you're just an asshat being funny, then it's great. But if you're trying to force the funny, it's like,
oh yeah, they said this was funny. It's like, we might have pushed it a little bit.
Yeah, we were lost souls trying to find our way in a digital podcasting world. So wow, that was poetic. Can I just rip that off the top of my head? Holy shit, this is awesome. Anyway, let's get a little serious, shall we? So last week for episode 128, we were talking about addiction. Okay, so the whole premise of our show last week was we were kind of covering the basics of addiction, some of the terminology you hear a lot, so kind of some of the misnomers and the misinformation that's out there. So you're going to have the clinical definition, and you're going to have like the definition of like for like lay person, what everybody knows. Okay, addiction is just something you do in repetitive form that might be a little bit unhealthy, whereas a clinical definition is repeated behavior until harmful consequences, pretty much. Okay. And then we also talked about how that may or may not necessarily mean what you're going through. Okay. You could have somebody who goes home and they drink a 6-pack of beer every day after work, and they've done it for so long that that's just what their tolerance is built up. So it's not really affecting them. They just do it out of
Yeah.
habit. They get up the next day and they're right as rain, ready to go. So is that necessarily an addictive behavior? Clinically, you could argue that might not be the case. Okay. So we covered a lot of stuff. You're going to need, if you want to hear that, you can feel free to go back to our YouTube page. It's episode 128. It's addiction part 1. Okay. So for this week, we're doing a part 2. This is addiction part 2, the road to recovery, episode 129. Now, what we're going to focus our conversation on tonight, folks, is a little bit of a specific. If you think about how last week it was kind of a much wider focus and very generalized, talking about a lot of different things in regards to addiction. We talked about what relapse was. We talked about, some things that can happen. We're going to tighten up the focus a little bit. We're going to focus, as part of the road to recovery, a certain type of situation. Okay. Now, before we get into this, I do want to say a few things before we get into this topic. Okay. Number one, if you know that you have an addiction problem, I would ask that you do yourself a favor and seek help as best you can, whether it come from somebody you know, whether it come from a professional, whether it's a treatment facility, whether it's a counseling program, a combination of the two, whatever the case may be. Okay. Addiction is a disease and it needs to be addressed as such. Okay. And that could take many shapes, forms, and wear many masks and faces and whatnot. You might be addicted to drugs. You might be addicted to alcohol. There's sex and porn addiction. There is,
I would say alcohol probably being the most common of them all.
pretty common. Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, and also know that when we talk about this is not to bring shame to anybody. Okay.
Absolutely.
The good book says you're supposed to judge yourself before you judge others. Okay. I can tell you the things that I've done wrong in my life because I'm not afraid to admit that. I've made a lot of dumbass mistakes. There, I said it. Okay.
Yep.
It's like there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things I could have.
all.
There's a lot of things I could have done different when I was married. There's a lot of things I could have done different in the early days of being a parent, and still to this day, there's mistakes I make all the time. Okay, we're trying to just bring awareness to our subculture of society, veterans, military members, first responders, all that kind of stuff. So I would hope that you would listen with a little bit of an objective ear. Don't worry so much about being hard on yourself. But if you can admit that there is something going on that might need to be addressed, please take the steps to do that, because you deserve that to yourself, to your friends, to your family members, all that kind of stuff. Okay. We're losing a lot of people for a lot of different reasons out of our generation, out of our subculture of society. Okay. And we need to look out and be the advocate for each other. Okay.
Yeah.
Now
There's only one group is going to do it for us, man. It's us. Like I want to say this, but I want to say this because it's an unfortunate fact, right? But it is a fact. Civilians, they can say, oh, thank you for your service. Oh, this, that, and the other. Oh, we can, they can act like they give a damn about you for a very long time, right? But when it comes down to where the rubber meets the road, a lot of them, they got their own stuff to worry about. And sometimes, a lot of the time, they'll end up being the ones that are saying, like, well, oh, no. But as a community ourselves, as veterans, and those of us that are trying to look out for those in other uniform services, um, I mean, really, each other's all we got, because we understand each other. We have a common understanding. That's not to say that some civilians typically won't, but a lot of civilians typically don't do as much as, for the veteran community as we would like.
Yeah.
Which is a shame.
And we're not saying that to point fingers or whatnot. Unfortunately, it's just one of those things where you just kind of have to come to the realization, like, it should be at a certain level or a certain understanding. But in reality, it's like, okay, it's actually a few steps, if not quite a few steps lower. So
yeah,
it's just, all about managing expectations. That's what I do in my regular job as a therapist, is managing expectations. Okay. That's a crucial thing. And I think that's something that a lot of people need to remind themselves of in their life. Like, yeah, it's cool. I would love to buy that house up there that cost $575,000. However, I'm just out of college and starting off, and I am broke as a joke. So let's work on that. And that's just a hypothetical situation off the top of my head, not pointing any fingers at anybody. So
derp.
So anyway, so what we're going to talk about today is a situation. Again, shout out to our good friend Brian, who is always kind of guiding us in a good, positive direction for good show topics and whatnot. Alamo, when you pull up that article, if you whenever you are ready, if you will just go ahead and preface it by going down to the section that says what is pause.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that first section above it is kind of talking about the website and whatnot, and like the organization itself. So I would like to just kind of skip past that a little bit.
Yes, sir.
So what we're going to be talking about today, folks, is a situation called PAUSE. And what PAUSE stands for is Post-Acute Withdrawal Syndrome. Okay. We're going to do a little bit of talking about this and what it is. So basically, in a nutshell, what PAUSE is, if you want to hold off on that for just a second, Alamo.
Yes, sir.
What PAUSE is like, let's say somebody decides that they're going to quit, let's just say alcohol. Okay. So they quit using alcohol. They're getting themselves cleaned up. They're starting to feel better. And then at a certain point where you're not consuming alcohol at all, you just start to feel like absolute ass. You're feeling fatigued. You're feeling gross because your body's kicking all that stuff out of your system. And this is a point where a lot of folks can potentially relapse because they're like, well, shit, if this feels awful, I'm just going to go back to doing what I was doing where I felt a lot better. So there's a lot of different parts of what we're going to talk about. So we're going to kind of cover as much of it as we can, but we are focusing on this topic of post-acute withdrawal syndrome, or otherwise known as PAUSE. Okay. Alamo, if you are ready, sir, I will start going through the article. Dopey dope. All right. So what is PAUSE? Okay. So this is an article from AmericanAddictionCenters.org. They actually have a location right here in Riverview, Florida, which is not that far from me. A good friend of ours actually used to work there for a little bit. But we're going to talk about this. This is gives a little bit of a history about what PAUSE is and what it is all about. Okay, so what is PAUSE? Post-acute withdrawal syndrome, or PAUSE, was a phrase first used more than 20 years ago to describe a phenomenon of relatively milder but persistently troublesome withdrawal symptoms that lingered in some individuals who had discontinued benzodiazepine therapy. At some point, the concept of PAUSE became overgeneralized to describe any type of protracted course of withdrawal symptoms across the spectrum of substance types. It has since become largely uncommon in medical literature, though the term remains online, despite not having much authoritative information behind it. chronic substance use can change the molecular, cellular, and neurocircuitry in the brain that affect emotions and behaviors and can persist after the acute withdrawal symptoms end. The research on protracted withdrawal, especially for substances other than alcohol, signs and symptoms, is scant. While there have been some clinical observations, the evidence is mostly anecdotal, but indicates the following. So these are going to be.
So real quick,
man.
benzodiazepines, those are a type of antidepressant. Or they were a type of antidepressant.
You know what?
I think so. Like, actually, let me see. The prescription CNS depressants used for short-term treatment of anxiety and blah, blah, blah. Benzodiazepines, or benzos, are prescription CNS depressants used for short-term treatment of anxiety, insomnia, seizures, and alcohol withdrawal by increasing GABA activity to calm the brain. Okay, so it's not even a depressant. It's like a withdrawal drug, apparently.
They're used primarily to treat conditions characterized by excessive nervous system activity, including anxiety disorders, insomnia, seizures, pre-medication, alcohol withdrawal, and muscle spasms.
Common types include alprazolam, Xanax,
Xanax,
diazepam, Valium, and lorazepam, Ativan. Ativan. Risks include sedation, addiction, cognition impairment, and dangerous fatal interactions with it's an opiate.
Also on that list is clonazepam, which is Klonopin, which is used for seizure disorders and panic attacks. Yeah.
Aha.
Okay,
I can see why that would have been a problem.
Yeah.
Damn, my eyes are acting the hell up. Where is it?
Mine too. It's like my left eye is just being kind of goofy. All these bright lights in my face.
Hey, there we go.
All right. So, again, where there have been some clinical observations, the evidence is mostly anecdotal, but indicates the following. For alcohol, protracted withdrawal from alcohol is actually well documented. Hold on a second. Where the hell are my glasses? Jesus. How awesome would it have been if I had like Vietnam era BCGs?
Yeah, they still when I was going through basic, they still issued those damn
things. We still had those. Yeah. In 03, and when did you go in 05?
05. They wanted you to look the most nerdy as nerdy could be.
Oh, you were not getting ass in those
They
things,
could
dude.
identify you from a mile away, like, ooh, hello.
Plus, everybody's like, "You're so funny, drill sergeant." Like, get your ass over here, recruit. All right, let's go back to this. So, protracted withdrawal from alcohol is actually well documented. There we go. Common symptoms include anxiety, hostility, irritability, depression, mood changes, fatigue, insomnia, problems concentrating and thinking, decreased sex drive, and unexplained physical pain. Anecdotal evidence indicates that symptoms can last 2 years or longer after the last drink. Sleep studies suggest that sleep problems can persist 1 to 3 years after alcohol consumption stops. Benzodiazepines. Benzodiazepine protracted withdrawal is difficult to distinguish from symptom rebound, a common after effect of prolonged benzodiazepine use, where intensified withdrawal symptoms such as anxiety, insomnia, and restlessness return, then subside a few weeks later. Protracted withdrawal symptoms, on the other hand, tend to ebb and flow, be new, not the reemergence of a symptom, and last for months but subside with continued abstinence. Marijuana. Several studies indicate that sleep difficulties and strange dreams persisted for more than a month after stopping the use of marijuana. And from what I've been told, talking about marijuana as an addiction is quite a bit of a hot button issue with some folks, because
it is most definitely a hot button issue.
Yeah. They'll be the first, from like hardcore people, like they'll say, "Oh, it's not really an addiction. I can stop anytime I want." But
okay, so then stop.
Well, why? It's like that math ain't mathing over there when it comes to all the logic and sense. And I'm not trying to, point fingers at anybody or bring shame or blame or whatnot. But it's talking about the causality of it. It's like if you look at not the causality, but look at the overall big picture of it. I mean, you could make that argument very, very, very easily. So,
Because
opioid. Go ahead.
how's
I'm
it they
sorry.
say it? How's it they say it again? Makes sense common again.
Makes sense. Common again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Opioids. There are a number of protracted withdrawal symptoms that have been reported in the weeks and months following opiate detox, including sleep disruption, anxiety, and depression, as well as fatigue, feeling down, irritability, and decreased executive control functions.
Control
Sorry,
functions. Yeah.
my eye was like just really being stupid right there. Sorry. And then cocaine. One study found that impulse control continued to be a struggle for study participants after 4 weeks of abstinence. While protracted symptoms vary by substance, some of the commonly reported protracted withdrawal symptoms include, I'm going to go down the left and then go down the right, irritability and hostility, depression, anxiety, low energy and fatigue, sleep disruption, including insomnia, memory problems, limited ability to focus or think clearly, cravings, impaired executive control, an inability to feel pleasure, difficulty focusing on tasks, lack of libido, and inexplicable chronic pain. So, what causes protracted withdrawal? Due to a lack of scientific evidence, protracted withdrawal and its causes are not well documented. A person's physical dependence on drugs or alcohol can lead to brain chemistry changes. When someone suddenly stops using the substance, the brain no longer has the chemical to trigger neurotransmitters and endorphins to release. The brain must readjust to being without the substance, and the brain can take time to adjust. Adaptive changes in the central nervous system can lead to effective changes that persist beyond withdrawal. This is a diagnosis of pause. Despite clinical observations and anecdotal reports of the symptoms experienced by some beyond the acute withdrawal stage, protracted withdrawal as a diagnosis has been excluded from the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. Now, let me stop right there for just a second. So the DSM is what therapists like psychologists, psychology therapists and whatnot, that's like our Bible, because what it does is it actually goes through and lists all the different types of mental diseases, disorders, all that kind of stuff. Anything from ADD, ADHD to reactive attachment disorder, oppositional defiance disorder. Like you can, if you ever really want to get, get some knowledge on some stuff, you should get a copy of that and read it. It is quite fascinating that all these different things are broken down and actually tells you how to differentiate between all of them and whatnot. And it's it's pretty wild stuff. So I think they're on volume 5 right now. So
volume 5, I'm assuming, is like
it's
the most recent update, is what I'm saying.
and it came out I think a few years ago. It should be like DSM-V for the Roman numeral for 5. You can look up where that stuff is. That what you're looking up right now? Is that why you copied that?
Yes, actually, because I'm curious.
Gotcha. The lack of consensus on what the syndrome is and how to best treat it makes it difficult to screen.
Yeah, you're right. Volume 5. Damn! Look at them prices.
What you got?
Whoa! The audio version's like the cheaper version too.
Well, they have an audio version of the DSM-5.
Apparently.
Really? That's fascinating.
The latest, greatest version, however, is $170 flat on Amazon.
Yeah. I'm sure it's very important to what we do as like behavior therapists and psychologists and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, if you can get a copy of it, like borrow a copy of it and just to read through it and whatnot, it's fascinating. So, But don't WebMD it and starting. Don't try to sit there and read through it and self-diagnose and all that stuff. Don't do the WebMD thing. Just don't.
Oh, they have a paperback version. I'm guessing it's an original copy from 1968. Not like ones that are still in production, I guess you could say. It says it's the fifth of it. It says it's the 5th edition.
But that wouldn't be 1968 though.
Yeah, it says January 1st, 1968. I don't know why.
But it wouldn't be volume 5. It might be the 5th edition of the first volume, because volume 5 only came out, I think, around 2020.
Yeah.
It's not, it wouldn't be that old. That's an edition. That's a 5th edition of a previous thing. You want to look up DSM-5. So, but anyway, let's get back to this. So, how is protracted withdrawal treated? Relapse continues to be a concern for individuals who may experience protracted withdrawal symptoms, since they may want to alleviate those symptoms by returning to substance misuse. Therefore, after completing a formal treatment program, long-term recovery is sustainable with participation in an aftercare or continuing care program, which may include education. Understanding that even after periods of symptom-free abstinence, some individuals may experience protracted withdrawal symptoms can help individuals in early stages of recovery prepare and cope. Celebration. Every accomplishment during recovery deserves recognition. Visits with healthcare providers. It's important to keep appointments with medical professionals who can consistently assess your needs through recovery. Sleep. Good sleep habits help prevent sleep problems. Yeah, no kidding. If I could just get that under control, it'd be great. Yep. Activities. Mental and physical exercise can improve sleep, your emotional state, reduce stress, avoid triggers, and distract you from symptoms. Patience. Recovery is a process that takes time. Don't try to do too much too quickly, which can increase stress and exacerbate symptoms. Medications. Some medications can be prescribed to help minimize cravings and prevent relapse. Mutual help groups. Participation in groups such as Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous help support long-term recovery. Therapies. Continued interventions like cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, can help manage impulse control and problem solving. The professional detox, treatment using evidence-based interventions, and aftercare services offered at AAC, which is American Addiction Centers, can help to mitigate an individual's experience with acute and protracted withdrawal symptoms and reduce the risk of relapse during recovery. So, yeah. So,
yes,
I will say this, if you want to go ahead and kill that article, Alamo, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
If you are somebody that has successfully navigated the road of recovery after an addiction or some other type of ailment, I applaud you. Okay.
Yeah.
It is not an easy thing
We
to do.
both applaud you.
I'm sorry. We both applaud you. That is not an easy task. And if you have done that and you continually, work to improve yourself. I forgot about all the damn. Oh, geez. Like I was saying, if you have, gone through that and have, gotten and put in a lot of distance between you and some old habits or some bad habits and whatnot, hey, pop you. Like, you deserve all the credit in the world. Now, no one, I saw a video a while back.
And honestly, too, dude, I would say if they've been through it, find a way to help others navigate it themselves.
Yes, like it says there.
Because nobody's going to understand nobody's going to understand what they're going through like you are. And a lot of people need somebody that's been there to really understand, oh, well, okay, that's,
You know what? I'm really glad you brought that up. So I just thought of this. I was having a conversation with our good friend Brian, and he was talking about why. So he has 2 certifications. If you remember him being on our show the last time he was on here, it was like 124, I believe it was. It was quite a few episodes ago. But he was talking about why it was important for him to have both certifications, not only as a licensed mental health counselor, but also as a certified recovery peer specialist. Now, with the LMHC, what's good about that is you've gone through all the formal training, you're state certified, all that kind of stuff. So you're able to go and work and whatnot. But with the CRPS certification, the Certified Recovery Peer Specialist, that's something that you've had to have gone through and actually walked the walk along that process. It's not something you can just go and get, certified by studying and whatnot. You actually have to go through that process. And they both have their own advantages that really just help complement. And I give, I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to inflate Brian's ego, and he wouldn't say that I am, but what makes him a good therapist is the fact that he has both sides of that. It's kind of like if you have like your CIB and your EIB. Your EIB you learn from going through and learning all the tests and what's required for all that stuff. The combat infantry badge, the CIB, is what you get from actually just going and doing the damn thing. So when you get both of those, you have the Master Combat Badge, okay, which is something new that we talked about a while back. But it's kind of like that. You actually have the book smarts and you have the practical experience, and that makes you just all the much more well-rounded when it comes to this kind of thing. So, Brian, if you ever listen to this, man, love you, buddy.
Indeed.
But again, what's fascinating about this too is like, there's so much that goes into it. Everybody, I haven't gone through having to kick an addiction. I just haven't had to go through that, thankfully. But I can also understand why that's not just as easy as people say, oh, just, quit. Okay. Yeah. Like there was a guy when I was going through boot camp who quit smoking cigarettes, and that guy was going through withdrawals, and you see him in his rack just, shaking every night because he was going through nicotine and tobacco withdrawals and stuff. It's like, that's no damn joke. Like it really is. And for guys that had to get to, to get on the right side of things, like, again, that's why I give you all the credit in the world, because it is not something that you can just flip a switch and go, cool. As it said in the article, sometimes these effects can linger for months. They can linger for a year, for years after you've completely stopped using whatever substance got you between that rock and a hard place to start with. Okay. So
dude, buddies of mine when I was in my platoon have told me stories. I'm not going to say them. I'm not going to call them out by name. Because, just
call them Mr. X and Mr. Y.
Mr. X, for example, talked about how he had an issue with, let's just say the booger sugar. And
no shit.
Oh yeah, it was a bad one. And I mean, he talked about how he went through rehab and everything before he joined the military, and just how awful of an experience that was. Like an absolute awful experience, just going through the experience, like just having to purge that crap from his body. You know what I mean? And just how terrible it was. And
he's good now, though, right?
Oh, he's freaking killing it. He's had like a freaking 20-year career now.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. He became a first sergeant a couple years back.
Oh, that Mr. X.
Yes.
Wow, good for him.
And dude, like again, it's been a complete turnaround, man.
We need to reach out to him, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to have him on the show if he'd be willing. I would absolutely love to have him on the show if he'd be willing.
Mr. Alamo, you have homework, sir.
I do. It's just a matter of, some of the guys seeing if they'd be willing. It's hard because some.
No, yeah, I get that.
It's
because there's been a lot of people that I would love to have on here, but I was like, yeah. I get that, and no pressure.
I think for them, it's one of those things where they're just like, I don't know, dude. I'm being on a thing talking about this thing. It's like, it's kind of like that. You know what I mean?
And that's fair. I get that.
But and I think so too. I think it's
tell
fair,
us your darkest secret with a Joe Rogan sized audience and reach. It's like, yeah, no. Thank goodness we don't have that issue. yet.
Yeah.
But I can totally understand that. I mean, it's one thing to be candid and talk about it, but it's another thing to like have people going like, "You really did that?" Like, and you never know who's going to react to what. So I get that. But please
Yeah.
continue what you were saying, dude. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good, dude. No, but you know, and he said that it's something that he would never wish on anybody.
Yeah.
Um, because of what he went through and because of how things progressed with him, he said flat out, it was like, dude, this like he's like, I could never go back to doing that shit again, ever. Like, even if I desperately wanted to, like, I could never, because it was just that horrible of an experience coming off of it,
Yeah.
you know. and and deep down inside, I almost like wonder if it's like it's because like the come down from it, right? I almost wonder if sometimes the reason they feel that way is because like in their mind they realize just how bad that crap was for them.
Yeah.
So if that makes sense at all, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure. You have the clarity of being able to have all that in the rear view and being able to look back at it, as opposed to looking ahead of it and not knowing what's going on. You've already been through it. You can look back and go, yeah, that really fucking sucked.
Yeah.
So I get that, you know.
That's just one example, you know what I mean?
So I saw a commercial. I don't remember what it was for, but it kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. And I'll tell you why, because this guy gets on it. So it's some kind of treatment facility located somewhere out in like Beverly Hills or somewhere out in that kind of area of California. Again, not trying to talk bad, but the person came on there and he's like, I used to be an addict and now I'm not. And I'm just like, interesting. Okay. Let's break that down. So you just don't have to worry about that at all anymore? Like, how does that work? You know, I'm gonna look at you with the blue steel while you try to explain that shit to me, you know. So, and like somebody told me it was kind of hey, don't steal my bit. I stole it fair and square.
What
Don't
is
steal
this,
my
a
bit.
school for ants?
Oh Jesus. You know what's sad?
What?
I've never actually seen Zoolander. I know. You're giving me the look. I'm sorry. You're giving me the
The
look of like,
first
how
one
dare
is
you?
the first one is the only one I didn't watch. I didn't watch the second one.
Yeah. But anyway, so like I'm
How are the
watching
children
that.
supposed to learn how to read if they can't even fit in the building?
I remember watching that commercial. Shut up, dude. I'm trying to talk. You're such an idiot.
That's I mean that's
Love
in
you,
the
bro.
movie, but you know
Obviously you're quoting. You have that encyclopedic knowledge of movie quotes, but I can't remember what I ate for lunch 3 days ago.
I
It's like,
understand that too.
so how the hell does that work? No, but I mean, it's just like so. I thought that was a bit presumptuous and arrogant to just assume, oh, I'm not an addict anymore. Like you're not going to have any chance of relapsing whatsoever. I mean, I would assume the chance gets more and more smaller and diminished as time goes on. But we're human beings. We make mistakes. You know, there's things that happen where we're like, you know, we mess up. We go back and what's
Oh
up?
shit! It says it's in paperback.
Oh, the DSM-5.
Yeah,
You
but
should be able to get it in paperback.
it also says it's like audio learn. I don't know. You check this shit out.
The audiobook, we'll talk about that afterwards. Let's finish up, man.
Okay, yeah.
Because we're almost done. But yeah, so I don't know. That kind of struck me as like, wow, like either they're selling really good stuff because of the fact that like you're not going to relapse at all, or I have more questions and I'm not going to like the answers kind of thing. And I don't mean to sound judgmental, but I was just like, it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way kind of thing. So
Yeah.
that's again, you know, if you've gone through an addictive thing where it's a substance, it's a behavior, whatever the case may be, and you've, you know, on the far side of that and you're working every day to make it less and less of a chance, hey, props to you. I love you guys. You guys are awesome. That's amazing.
And that kind of falls back into the other individual we talked about last week that I used to work with,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
she ended up, you know, kind of falling back into it.
yeah.
I almost wonder if she thought she was out of the freaking. I almost wonder if she thought she was out of the woods at one point. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, again, like we talked about with a lot of this stuff with when you're trying to kick the addiction and whatnot, you get to the point where you feel bad, you're irritable, it feels awful because you're just chronically just ugh. You feel like a fucking bucket of yuck or some stuff.
Yeah, because
Um,
your body's gotten used to whatever it is.
exactly. And then you just feel like miserable and you're just like, well, if this is how I'm gonna feel, I'll just go back to doing the bad shit and I'll feel better. So
Yeah,
or it could be a lot of different things. Who knows what the case may be, but it's just a lot of, you know, I can't say from a point of knowing because I thankfully have never had that kind of, issue when it comes to addiction of like hard substances or illicit substances or behaviors. There's some things that I've, gone to therapy for like, behaviors that were kind of causing issues and I needed to correct and whatnot. But yeah. So again, the big thing we want to talk about here, folks, is if there is something going on where you think you may have an addiction problem, reach out to somebody. There's resources available. Um, don't Hopefully it doesn't get to the point of where your friends, family, or loved ones have to stage an intervention where they got to sit you down and like browbeat you because like you're tell you this is where you sit and listen to how bad you're fucking up kind of thing. So you know
yeah,
obviously that has happened because it might take somebody that kind of being stern and like, hey, this is what's going on, you're fucking up, and fast forward kind of thing, like stop. So if you're going through that, do yourself a favor, get help, for yourself, for your family, for your loved ones, and just make yourself better. Get yourself
yeah,
out of that situation of just being in a deep dark hole and well of despair. So
yeah. Truth be told, I mean, like you can't be doing worse than what you're already doing when you're doing those things, right?
yeah, and
There's
I mean you can
only
also look
one way up from there is up.
right.
Unless
The only way you can if you hit rock bottom, great, you're at the bottom. Start working your way up. Get out of the hole, start climbing the mountain. So,
Mhm.
did you have anything else you wanted to add, my dude?
I mean, honestly, like it just goes back to kind of like I've seen what you know addiction can do to some people, and I've obviously heard what addiction can do to some people from friends of mine. Um, it's it's not it doesn't seem like it's something that's fun, man. Like, and honestly, I think I'm gonna be honest and say that I'm pretty sure I was addicted for a while to specifically alcohol. Um, and I began to have a dependency on it for some time because when you're hurting and you're feeling pain, especially after like you go to combat or something like that, maybe it's because you felt like you didn't do enough, and you know that you should have taken the place of some others, like myself. Unfortunately, that's how I felt. um
You're talking about survivor's guilt.
yeah, I guess so, yeah. um I could have done more, and like this is how I felt, right? I could have done more and not have left the guys. I could have done more and been there when Paul was there, so that maybe possibly I could have been like, hey dude, I don't know, I don't trust it. um I don't know, like, but that's what I was dealing with, and you know I looked for solace at the bottom of a bottle. um but it numbed what I thought I was. It numbed and drowned out what I thought I was feeling. Or well, excuse me, what I was feeling, but what I thought was a helpful way of doing it. but it only helped me remember it until it only helped me forget it until the morning, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like it became a pretty harsh cycle, and I noticed for some time whenever something bad happened or something else like I always turned to the bottle and it was just not good. Just wasn't good, you know. So, I had to ease back.
Yeah.
When you run into those issues, you know, go to your freaking support group, man. Go to your people. Go to who you think will help you. Like nobody wants you to do anything stupid. Nobody wants you to be hurting yourself. And honestly, when you allow the addiction to take you over, that's what's happening. You're allowing the addiction to, cause you further pain. And you're not even realizing it.
Yeah.
So
It is absolutely. I can feel that, man. I see where you're coming from for sure. And again, I want to end this on a positive note by saying, again, if you're a person who has gone through an addiction and you're on the far side of it, and you're working to just maintain that win streak every single day, I applaud you in your efforts. Please keep going. And hey, if you slip, it happens. Nobody's perfect. People mess up and relapse all the time, but just get right back on it and start over from day one and just work all those days forward. So, I saw
as
really.
Bruce Wayne's dad once said, Bruce, why did we fall? So we
Ooh,
can learn to pick ourselves back up.
that's good. That's super good, man. Look at you.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I saw a really cool thing. It was an article I read somewhere a while back where a guy gave out tattoos, and it was tattoos, and it was basically just like simple. Like it might be here on your forearm or somewhere on your body, but what it was like it was basically somebody celebrating victory. Like one person came in and it was like the number was like 1674, and that was a number of days that their son had of sobriety before he died of an OD kind of thing. They got help. They were clean for 1674 days. They had some kind of relapse. They overdosed and it was fatal, unfortunately. But like anytime this it started off as one little person coming in for this act, and it just became anybody that wants to do like to celebrate like a victory like this. The tattoo is free. Now it wasn't anything elaborate, but it was just like small little numbers, and it was just a reminder of like, hey, this is we're doing victory stuff here. We're celebrating the wins. And I was like so moved by that. I was just like, wow, that's a great idea. That's fantastic.
Sure.
Keep the positivity going forward, man. So did you have anything else you want to add, Alamo?
Nah.
All right.
Nah, I think I'm good now.
Okay, cool beans. So this has been our conversation for episode 129, addiction part 2, the road to recovery, and we kind of specifically focused on post-acute withdrawal syndrome. Okay, kind of talking about that and whatnot. It's a big deal. So thank you for listening or watching. We appreciate you being part of this discussion with us, either live or if you came back and watched it at a later time. We appreciate that too. We are going to start closing out like we always do and get you out of here for the week and all that good stuff. So as I mentioned before, if you're new to the show, thanks for stopping by. If we appreciate it. If you're coming back to see us again, hey, appreciate you coming back and getting some more content from us. We every month, every week that we do this, we still learn things about how this works and how this should go down, and it's an ever evolving thing. So we appreciate you being part of the journey, if even a little bit or a lot of it. Like, we appreciate it. So as I mentioned earlier, Alamo and I were when we were friends in high school. He was a freshman when I was in my senior year, so we were 3 years apart. He was in the same class as my younger brother, and also my daughter's mother as well. So we kind of had some similar friend groups and whatnot. You and I ended up having, I think you were in ROTC with me, weren't you?
I was.
You were in Charlie Company starting off.
I was.
Yeah, you was. Anyway, so that's how we met. We became friends. Stayed in touch after I graduated and whatnot. I joined the Guard here in Florida. Alamo left and went active duty after he graduated high school. During that year we were in school together, 9/11 happened, and that kind of altered the course of our lives, obviously, very obviously. But we stayed friends, went and had our own, military experiences and whatnot. We both got out and kind of went on with our lives. We kind of hung out through the years. We worked together. At one point, worked with a great dude named John. John is very, very pivotal and important to this show. John was a guy that we worked with for a little bit of time, a couple years, I think, and was just one of the funniest damn dudes in the world. Just made, like, you get up, you go to work, like, oh, I'm working with John today. Rad. It's gonna be a good fucking day, Tater. It's gonna be awesome. I'm surprised we didn't get into more trouble when we all worked together, because we would just do some dumb shit.
Boneheaded.
Bonehead, just dumbass, like the time that John did this and photocopied it and left it on top of the cash drawer in the register.
Yep.
And the boss lady came over. She's like, "Oh, what's this?" And I'm just like, "I don't know. I think somebody's trying to play a prank or something."
John was in the corner talking to a customer, like, I remember that day specifically.
Jesus Christ,
because I think it was Miss Laura.
Oh, you're talking about, it was Miss Laura. You guys saw that when I got hemmed up. We
were there.
Oh,
we were there, and
you
freaking
fuckers.
And like, because you looked at me, and I'm like, and John was down at the end of the counter.
So good. Oh, damn, so good.
I can't believe you forgot that. Yeah, dude, we were present for that part. We were all there for
it. It was,
because I remember you were doing your typing, and you just tick, and the till pops open, and you're like, oh, dude. Miss Laura's like,
straight up fear response, dude.
I kid you not. You not. I'll tell you how Miss Laura responded. She was like, what is this?
Yeah. Very, very proper, very controlled emotional response. Nothing. Listen, Miss Laura was nice. She was super nice. Like, dude, she was a nice boss lady to work for, man. Yeah. Dude, straight up panic, fear, panic. Just, like, immediately got sweaty. I was just like, oh shit, this is gonna be bad. Yeah. So anyway, needless to say, we had a blast working together. Right? Shenanigans.
Mm-hmm.
always shenanigans. So we all kind of left there, went our own way. And then I reached out. Alamo's reached out to me about working an event for his wife. His lovely wife, Tisha, has an organization called Flipside Mentorship. They are doing amazing things over there. Go check that out, flipsidementorship.com. Changing tomorrow, today. I guess you got it right this time. Hey. They work with a lot of kids and whatnot. They do some wonderful events. We actually partner with them once a year to do our Battle Buddies event, where we go out there and talk about military related things, but kind of make it approachable to kids and whatnot. I think we're going to be at the beach again this year.
Yes.
I'm going to be a potato crisp again.
You're going to be a sack of potatoes.
I'm going to be a overcooked potato chip is what it's going to be. But anyway, so she reached out about having me come out and do one of her events. I think it was one of their early events and whatnot. And Alamo and I had such a blast just hanging out together and being ourselves and whatnot. He was like, dude, we should get the band back together. And I was like, what did you have in mind? And he's like, well, we could do a podcast. I'm like, dude, I don't know a damn thing about a podcast. He goes, bro, they put a monkey in outer space. How hard can it be? And I'm like, that's a very, very, very... Oh, is that the picture of us from...
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Good stuff. But yeah, so he literally said, hey, man, they put a monkey in outer space. How hard can it be? And I'm like, all right, cool. Makes sense. So we kind of tabled that, and then we found out. I actually found out from a friend of John's that John had unfortunately committed suicide, and I was pretty floored. And I reached out to Alamo and I was like, "Dude, did you hear about John?" And you were like, "No, I gotta call him for his birthday." And I'm like, "Well, you can't because he's gone." So for me personally, that was like my aha moment. I'm like, dude, the podcast thing, like, yeah, I'm in. Let's go full send and freaking make this happen and all this kind of cool shit. So, and we've been doing it ever since. And it's been almost 5 years now. We've been doing this. 6 seasons over 5 years, which has been just insane that we're able to do this. In the process of developing what we were going to call ourselves, coming up with the name, coming up with the brand, and so forth, we came up with the Battle Bros Code. And what the Bros Code is on days when things just feel like they can't get any better. Things are just not going your way. Things are just continually keeping your head down in the muck, in the mud, just sloshing you all over the place. You feel lost, all that kind of shit. The Bros Code is just kind of designed to give some encouragement, just to remember, hey, you're better than this. It'll get better. Here's how. Okay. So all you got to do is remember the letters BROS. Okay. All you got to do. B, be tenacious. No matter what you do in life, do it with tenacity, fervor, and and complete piss and vinegar running through your veins. Okay. Do not take no for an answer. Go out and do it. Anything you decide to do to the utmost of your ability, whether it's if you're going to kick addiction, go for it. Go out there and grab the bull by the horns and be tenacious and all that kind of shit. Being a parent, being a teacher, a mentor, a provider, whatever the case may be. Okay, whatever your job is, go out and do it with gusto, pretty much. In the words of the immortal Ron Swanson, don't half-ass two things, whole ass one thing. Be tenacious. Okay. As Sean Connery's character said in The Rock, talking to Nicolas Cage, he's like, Nicolas Cage says, "I'll do my best." He goes, "Your best." Losers complain about doing their best. Winners go home and fuck the prom queen. She was a prom queen. Oh. I'm paraphrasing quite a bit of that, but you get the gist of it. Be tenacious. Go fuck the prom queen. Anyway, R, refuse to surrender. As things happen in life, we get sideways, we get off course, we get, turned around, discombobulated, all that kind of shit, okay? No matter what happens, stop for a minute, reorient yourself. What do they call it? The OODA loop. Orient, observe, decide, and act, okay? And you're just constantly doing that, okay? You orient yourself, you observe what's going on, you decide what you're going to do, and you act upon it. Refuse to surrender, okay? Don't let anybody keep you down. Sometimes you got to pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. Take out your map, take out your compass, shoot your new azimuth, move out. Okay. Oh, obliterate your obstacles. Kind of going along with what we just talked about with R. There's obstacles that come up. Don't let them define you. They don't define you. You defeat them. Okay. So whatever those obstacles are, it could be a river crossing. It could be, getting clean from addiction. It could be, scaling a wall to get over into the next point on your adventure or your trek. It could be breaching a wall. It could be using explosives. It could be using a mechanical armored vehicle. Who knows? And if you know what we're talking about, click that like button because you know what we're talking about. But anyway, whatever the obstacle is, obliterate it and then keep moving on to hit the OBJ, to hit that X. Okay. Obliterate your obstacles. Last and most certainly not least, and especially important tonight, we're going to talk about S. Seek out help in a time of need. Okay. Whether we're talking about somebody that's going through addiction, whether it's yourself, whether it's somebody you know, we'll get to that in a minute. Okay. We could be talking about addiction. We could be talking about somebody's going through something else. Okay. Just having a rough patch. Seek out help in a time of need. It could be anybody. It could be a friend, a family member, a loved one, a very close friend. It could be a fellow service member. A lot of times, who better to understand what you're going through than somebody who's walked several miles in the same kind of shoes you have. Okay. They understand the complexities and the hardships of deploying when you're a college student, you're in the Guard, you have a regular job and all that kind of shit. they can better relate to you about those kind of things. So um, reach out to somebody. We, a lot of times as veterans, don't stay in touch, and that's kind of something I wish we would all do a better job, myself of included.
Yeah.
Um, it just, life gets in the way, you fall through the cracks. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I have my own experiences with that, but just try to do the best you can. If you don't have somebody who can give you help, there are options out there for you. Whether it's getting help for any one of the various behaviors you may have going on, whether it's addiction, whether it's negative thoughts, whether it's any other thing out there, there's going to be somebody that offers help. If you've gotten to the point where you're considering harming yourself, please stop and listen to what I'm going to tell you next. Okay, there is hope and help for you. Okay, if you feel like you're going to harm yourself, obviously I would tell you to stop and reach out to somebody. If you don't have somebody you can call, there is a resource out there called the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. You can contact them one of several ways. Okay, you can call them at the 800 number at 1-800-273-8255. Again, that's 800-273-TALK, Tango, Alpha, Lima, Kilo, 1-800-273-TALK. You can also call or text 988. Again, that is 988. And you can also text 838255. Again, that's 838255. Okay. They have people there that available to talk to 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I think you get on the phone or the text and hit option one, and that'll get you to somebody who can help you through your time of crisis and need. We are trying, Alamo and myself, we are trying to prevent this. Now, this used to be the statistical number of 22 a day. Unfortunately, this has gotten a lot higher. Okay. And we need to do what we can to try to help combat that. Okay. We've lost a lot more folks and are losing a lot more folks to suicide than we've lost the entire period of GWAT. Okay. It is still the epidemic that we're trying to combat and fight. And we need your help to do that. Okay. Earlier, when I was talking about, whether it's you or whether it's somebody else, when we're talking about our show, you may not always feel a connection to what we're talking about. And that's okay. It's not meant for everybody, but we're just trying to get the mental juices going, trying to get the conversation started. There's a lot of times we talk about some things that are pretty taboo, pretty not quite so socially friendly. It's like, but the conversation needs to be had. Okay. Whether it's you, whether it's somebody else out there. Okay. Biggest thing you can do to help be a part of this is, if it's not necessarily you, you might say, hey, I got a friend of mine. Let me contact them. Let me reach out and say, hey, you should watch this show because they were talking about this kind of stuff and whatnot, and it might help you along. Okay. Whether it's yourself, whether it's somebody else. Okay. Reach out to that someone. You may have to pass it along by paying it forward and getting them to, find our stuff so that we can, help them out and whatnot. Just remember, you're not alone. You don't have to go through this by yourself. Okay. Whether it's us, whether it's a friend, whether it's a coworker, whether it's somebody who is a professional at some type of treatment center or service where they help people, get, sorted out, so to speak. Whatever the case may be, don't think you have to go through it alone. We are social creatures by design. We do better in groups. That's why we always go everywhere in a battle buddy group, at the very least. So just try to remember that. Okay. So if you can remember those 4 things: be tenacious, refuse to surrender, obliterate your obstacles, seek out help in a time of need, it's going to help you get to a better position, because we're always trying to get to an advantageous position, whether we're fighting, whether we're digging in for a defensive, we're getting ready for an ambush, whatever the case may be. It's always about improving where you're at. Take the high ground, get to there. Okay. From there, it's going to help you get through the next day, to the next day, to the next day. And eventually you're going to put all of this behind you and work on making that stretch as long as possible. So please remember that. Just know that there are options out there for you. Okay. At this time, I'm going to hand it off to this gentleman over here. He is going to finish up with the social media stuff, and then we'll get out of here for this week. So take it away.
Huey. So social medias, we got them. If you want to catch us on those social medias, there are multiple platforms where you can catch us. One of them being Facebook. All you've got to do is go to facebook.com or just go into the app and search Battle Bros or battlebros.podcast, right? Make it very simple for you. Also, if you go to Instagram, again, I mean, pretty much everybody's going to be on the app at this point for Instagram. Just search at underscore battle, excuse me, at Battle Bros underscore podcast. If you want to find us on X, you can find us at Battle Bros PC. Hasn't really been a lot of activity on the Twitter. I've really got to jump back in there and check on it. It's been a hot minute since I've been back on there. But yeah, go ahead and check us out there. On each one of those platforms, you can instant message us. Excuse me, on the instant messaging part of that application or platform. I'm constantly monitoring those areas like all the freaking time. I haven't monitored Twitter in some time only because it's been so kind of dead for our page for a little while. But I do monitor them as often as possible, specifically the X. Instagram and Facebook, I do monitor far more often. So if you guys want to instant message us there, that is perfectly fine. But if you guys feel like you want to instant message, or excuse me, if you want to email us, we do have an email. We do have a Gmail, which is battlebrospc@gmail.com. That is battlebrospc@gmail.com. And on every single one of those platforms, man, just let us know how we've done. Let us know, hey, you guys suck. Let us know, hey, you guys rock, or just let us know, hey, guys, do you mind talking about this subject? Maybe next time around. We're willing to listen to that. We're willing to hear that, because at the end of the day, we want to talk about what you guys want to talk about. It's really important for us to know that when we are doing these conversations, when we're having these talks, that not only are we talking about things that are important, but we're talking about things that are important to everybody as a whole. So let us know, man. Let us know what you guys think. Like, share, subscribe, share, because you never know who it might be able to impact, who it might be able to help. Also, if you want to catch us on other platforms, we're on Spotify, we're on iHeartRadio, like pretty much anywhere you can find podcasts, we're going to be on right now. We're also on Rumble, which I do have to catch back up with updating and uploading videos to that platform. It's just been really rough with like the full-time job, especially with sales. Lord, has it been difficult. Traveling a lot. So it's been really difficult. But if you want to catch us on Rumble, you can catch us at Rumble. All you got to do is type in the search bar, all one word, Battle Bros, and you'll be able to find us there.
Good job stifling that. I saw that. You're like,
yeah, I know. I was trying. It just all of a sudden it was just like, hey, by the way,
yeah.
And I was like, no, don't let it out.
Yep.
So, but yeah, man, like at the end of the day, like this is addiction is it's one of those things that it affects a very vast majority of our community. I damn sure know it affects, law enforcement. I damn sure know it affects, fire. It's something to definitely watch out for. And, again, the message that we're trying to convey here is, addiction can lead to a lot of different things, to include making decisions that you don't want to make, that you originally wouldn't make if you were in a clearer state of mind.
Yeah.
And I think that's the big takeaway here is make sure that you figure out a way to keep yourself here for everyone around you.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, but it's not always about us. It's about those that we are here trying to take care of and who we're living for. And yeah, I think if we just concentrate on that, and concentrate on wanting to be there and do whatever we have to do, what we have to do for them, it'll make all the difference in the world.
I agree, man. Good job. I appreciate you saying that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, folks. Again, thank you so much for stopping by and being part of our conversation. This has been episode 129 of the Battle Bros podcast, entitled Addiction, Part 2, The Road to Recovery. Whether you watched or listened, we appreciate being part of this journey with us. So, as always, please remember, be tenacious, refuse to surrender, obliterate your obstacles, seek out help in a time of need. If you can do those, you're going to have a pretty good shot at getting yourself to, getting yourself worked out. Okay. So until the next time, my name is Mac. This is my brother and cohort and co-host, Alamo. Thank you so much for joining us. We will see you down the road.
Battle Bros out.